This man's name is Mike. He is the greatest lawyer in Los Angeles, incredibly sharp and brilliant. That morning, as soon as he arrived at court to handle the case, Mike's colleague, Val, told him about a new job offer to become the lawyer for the son of a super wealthy tycoon named Louis. Right now, Louis was in jail for an assault case. If Mike accepted, he would be paid handsomely. Tempted by the offer, Mike agreed. Before the trial began, Mike met his current client first, who happened to be the leader of a motorcycle gang. Mike complained that he still hadn't received his payment. The gang leader calmly promised he would pay later. When the trial started, Mike requested about 1 month from the judge so he could gather witnesses and evidence. The judge granted it. The gang leader protested. He wanted the trial to end quickly so he could be free. Mike casually replied, "If you want freedom quickly, pay up quickly." The gang leader fell silent. After court, Mike headed to the police station to meet his new client, Louis. On the way, he realized his car was being followed by the gang's bikers. Still calm, he told his driver to stop. A scary-looking gang member approached him, asking Mike to hurry up and free their boss. "Come on, don't always think about money. We're like family. Every time we're in trouble, we hire you," the biker pleaded. After a negotiation and a $10,000 payment, Mike agreed. Next month, he would free their leader.
When he arrived at the station and met Louis, Mike said he was willing to be his lawyer. Relieved, Louis nervously explained that he was framed. He never assaulted the woman. Mike calmed him down and told him to lower his voice so others, especially fellow inmates, wouldn't hear. Later that day, during pre-trial preparation, Mike convinced the judge to change Louis' status from prison detention to city arrest, requiring him to wear an ankle tracker so he couldn't flee abroad. Louis' trial was set for the following week. Outside the courthouse, Mike was approached by Louis' mother's trusted assistant. The assistant asked if Mike could guarantee Louis' freedom. If so, he would be paid a fortune. With confidence, Mike said, "Never underestimate the greatest lawyer in this country." The next morning, Mike and his own assistant, Frank, went to meet Louis' mother. Inside her office were Louis, his mother, and the assistant. Before starting the meeting, Mike firmly told Louis' mother to leave. "My client is Louis, not you. Please step out." Shocked, she left, while the assistant stayed, now officially Louis' aide. The meeting began and Louis recounted the events of that night. At a bar, he had seen a hostess named Regina flirting with a male guest. Later, Regina approached Louis and gave him a paper with her address and price. Captivated by her beauty, Louis went to her apartment. When he arrived, Regina was still with the man from earlier. Let's call him the Mustang guy because of his car. Louis waited until the man left, then knocked on Regina's door. She welcomed him warmly, but as soon as he stepped inside, Louis was struck from behind and knocked out. When he woke, police were arresting him. Regina's face was bruised as if beaten badly, and Louis was accused of attacking her. Half-conscious, he was dragged to the station without a chance to explain. Mike ordered Frank to compare Louis' story with Regina's police report. Regina had claimed Louis barged in and attacked her violently, even holding a knife to her throat. She managed to fight back and hit Louis with a bottle until he fainted.
Mike, sensing inconsistencies, pressed Louis again. Was he hiding something? Louis swore he was framed. Later that night, Mike and Frank discussed the case. If Louis had been knocked out, then who had beaten Regina so badly? Suspicious of Mustang Guy, Mike asked Frank to investigate. The next day, Frank brought bar CCTV footage. They saw Mustang Guy with Regina and realized he was left-handed. Mike's suspicion grew stronger. Regina's bruises on her right cheek suggested a left-handed attacker. Mike met the prosecutor, hoping the evidence would drop the case, But strangely, the prosecutor refused, still demanding 7 years in prison for Lewis. Confused, Mike reviewed the case files again and discovered a knife engraved with Lewis's name had been found at the scene. Furious, Mike confronted Lewis, asking why he hadn't mentioned the knife. Lewis admitted he always carried it for self-defense because his mother had once been assaulted. Not long after, Mike remembered an old case he once handled with the police chief, a murdered hostess whose killer was still uncertain. He had sworn to one day find the real murderer. As the pieces fell together, Mike visited his former client Martinez, who had been wrongly imprisoned for that old case. After much hesitation, Martinez finally admitted the man who framed him looked exactly like Lewis. At that moment, Mike realized the horrifying truth. The real killer had always been Lewis. Mike was shattered. His client was a manipulative psychopath. Years ago, Lewis killed a hostess and framed Martinez. Now he had attacked Regina but tried to frame Mustang Guy. Worse still, because of attorney-client privilege, Mike couldn't expose him without violating ethics. Lewis had chosen Mike precisely because he was the best, because winning with him meant immunity for future crimes.
Mike confided everything to Frank. Broken and drunk, he cursed himself for defending a monster. But Lewis had trapped him with the attorney's code of ethics. He couldn't just hand over evidence to the police. If he failed, Lewis would gain an even stronger legal advantage for future crimes. Late that night, when Mike came home, he was stunned. Lewis was already inside, waiting. Calmly, Lewis admitted everything. Yes, he had killed the hostess years ago. Yes, he framed Martinez. Yes, his story about Regina was a lie. Then he threatened Mike's daughter, asking her age and school like an intimidation game. At Lewis's first trial session, the prosecutor delivered a strong speech to the jury. Mike, despite everything, appeared calm and professional, defending Lewis as though nothing had happened between them. To the world, he was still the greatest lawyer, fighting fiercely for his client's freedom.
But tragedy struck. Frank, his loyal assistant, was found shot dead. The police said the case was unclear, but Mike knew it was Lewis' doing. He kept silent, hiding his rage. The next day, during testimony, the Mustang Guy appeared as a witness. Mike cleverly used cross-examination to expose contradictions, pointing out that Mustang Guy was left-handed and could have inflicted Regina's right side bruises. The court began doubting the witness. Outside, detectives confronted Mike with a search warrant, accusing him of Frank's murder. At his house, they found the exact model pistol used in the crime. Mike explained it had been stolen. Luckily, because the detective trusted him, he wasn't arrested. Later, Mike discovered another witness would appear, a prisoner named Corliss, notorious for being a professional false witness. Coincidentally, he had shared a cell with Lois. He secretly arranged to bribe Corliss, not to lie, but to finally expose Lewis's real crimes in front of the police chief and detectives. When court resumed, Regina testified, but Mike skillfully twisted her words, making her appear like a schemer extorting a rich man. The jury wavered. Regina cried in frustration. The truth was being buried by Mike's brilliance. Next, Lewis's mother testified, defending her son. The jury sympathized. Finally, it was Lewis's turn. With tears in his eyes, he told the jury he was framed, begging for mercy. The jurors pitied him. At that moment, Lewis was certain he would win. But the prosecutor requested one more day to bring a final witness. The judge agreed. The next morning, Corliss was called. He revealed Lewis's confessions in prison, that he had assaulted Regina, and worse, that years ago he had murdered a hostess and framed Martinez.
Shock rippled through the courtroom. The police chief who was present immediately rushed out to act on the revelation.
Lewis panicked. Mike outwardly pretended to be shocked too, but inside, everything was going according to plan. When cross-examining, he deliberately discredited Corliss, making his testimony appear doubtful so the jury wouldn't rely on him. The judge then declared Lewis not guilty. Lewis walked free. Outside, Lewis's mother tearfully thanked Mike, but suddenly the police chief appeared, arresting Lewis again, this time for the murder 3 years ago. As Lewis was handcuffed, Mike leaned close and whispered, "Never underestimate the greatest lawyer in this country." The detectives realized the truth. Mike had staged the entire defense, deliberately letting Lewis win the assault case so that the police could rearrest him for murder, a crime far harder to escape. That night, Maggie called Mike in panic. Lewis had been released again. There wasn't enough evidence to hold him. Mike immediately ordered Maggie to take their daughter and hide. Desperate, he contacted the police to track Lewis's ankle monitor. The signal showed Lewis was already waiting outside Maggie's house. Mike rushed there. Facing Lewis, he drew his gun, warning him to stay away from his family. But Lewis sneered. "What if I don't? You'll shoot me. If you do, your career is over. And even if you kick me out tonight, I can come back tomorrow, and the day after. Forever. I'll haunt your daughter for life." Mike stayed calm and replied, "To destroy you, I don't need to dirty my own hands." That night, when Mike returned home, he was shocked. Lewis's mother was already inside his house, waiting. Just like her son, she revealed her own psychopathic nature. Truly, the apple hadn't fallen far from the tree. Mike coldly told her to leave. She sneered, but her reign was over. Days later, at the hospital, Mike was finally discharged. On the drive back, his driver gave him news. Martinez had been released from prison. At last, the truth had set him free. Meanwhile, Lewis had been arrested again, this time with solid evidence collected by the police chief, tying him to the hostess's murder 3 years ago. But peace didn't last. On the way, Mike's car was suddenly surrounded once more by the motorcycle gang. Calm as ever, Mike told his driver to stop. A scar-faced gang member approached. "Mike, we need your help again. One of our guys got arrested, but this time it's tough, not just drugs. He also got caught fooling around with a cop's wife. So, how much will it cost?" Mike paused, then smirked. "For loyal clients like you, this time it's free."